Hello, hello, my amazing listeners. Quick bonus episode for you today. There is a fire in my bones today around this topic, the statement that I hear all too often and absolutely can relate to. Why won't people believe me? I am not crazy. Why won't in laws, friends, clergy believe me? I didn't destroy the family. I didn't make the decisions that created the relational collapse, the reality collapse, and the devastation that, despite my attempts to forgive and repair, he still chose to do it his way, which was no way, no way near healthy, no way near accountability, honesty, and transparency, empathy, trust. But I'm the crazy one. Can you relate? This is what I'm talking about today. I want to validate, acknowledge, and give voice to those of you who are living this experience, who are wondering why. Why no one, and not just acquaintances, but people that you were attached to, that you considered family, that you loved, that you believed loved you, that you believed knew your integrity, that they knew your character. And yet now you find yourself maybe trying to convince them and show them and try as you may help them to see the truth, and it isn't being seen. It feels as if you can't move on without that sense of justice and validation and even vindication. Crap, how about just some acknowledgement from them that he did in fact make those choices, and wow, that must have been really excruciating for you. We're so sorry. But no, you're the crazy one. It is common for our culture to negatively judge a betrayed spouse's actions. Maybe you can even relate and recall being the judger before this was ever your story. Maybe you have been described as jaded or emotionally unstable. Some betrayed partners are portrayed as vengeful and blamed for the divorce, blamed that the other partner who betrayed now doesn't have his children as much because you decided to divorce. Maybe you have been accused of playing the victim card as an excuse to remain bitter and angry because outsiders, people on the outside looking in, failed to consider years, years leading up to the divorce when that cheating partner was lying, gaslighting, and all of those methods of those abusive behaviors and communication, acting out of the ordinary, but you were told that you were reading too much into it, or that you weren't being forgiving or offering grace, and then enduring their emotional avoidance and immaturity, invalidating all of your beautiful, wise femininity, sensitivity, and intuition. All of these traumas, abuse contributes to your behaviors that ensued divorce. But none of that is going to be taken into account. Most don't even know what you have been experiencing to its full extent, but many of you didn't fully understand what you were experiencing. However, when family, friends, clergy are not open to hearing what you now know and what you have now come to understand about your experience, you are not believed. You are acting crazy, vindictive, and look how sad he is because he doesn't have his children full time. The conversation is about you and how you have handled your trauma and PTSD that came from his abusive and deceptive behaviors. No one wants to talk about that. So today I'm giving voice to those who can relate to the following. When you are not believed by those that you thought would, when your ex plays victim so brilliantly and says that you are the one who destroyed him and took everything away. Or what about when his family shows more concern for his second or third wife that has now ended because of his choices? There's more concern for those women than there has ever been shown for you, who was married to him for 18 years or however long you were married. When there's no acknowledgement of how you were being manipulated, abused, not receiving child support to help raise your children. No acknowledgement that you have worked tirelessly to provide for those children. Yet you're the crazy one. You're the one who is making his life difficult. When your efforts to speak truth and share perspective so that he can get help and that they can really see what's going on to better support him, not so that you can have him back even, but for the children, so that he can start showing up healthy in their lives. But no, that's overlooked and discredited because believing you means they have to believe something about themselves. They would have to believe too that they've been duped, conned, lied to, gullible. Maybe they're stupid and unchristian. All the things that you believed. No, that's too much for them to believe too. Years can go by and their story about you remains clouded by your ex's lies and avoidance of accountability of his own actions. They still may be enabling him, but don't want others, including you, to see it that way because they don't know how to respond healthy. They aren't getting professional help to know how to stop enabling an addict. That's too hard. So it's easier to enable, but camouflage it as being Christ-like. When they will avoid talking to you and acknowledge your existence and life with their son because now you're too loud, too bold, and having a voice for the first time in your effing life, but it's too loud for them. They can't hear. They hear silence, smallness, oppression, submission. They cannot hear truth, your truth, because then they'd have to own theirs. And they are still running from that. You are too big, too bold, too much for them to accept. You and everything about you forces them to see into themselves, and that's too risky. So they hear only themselves. They talk, they listen to their own perspective, and those who share the same. And thoughts like, just look for the positive and then it will all work out, pray harder, and then place blame on you. You should have handled it differently, they say. You didn't have to do it that way, they judge. This doesn't come from concern for you or seeking to understand your why. It's because your way imposed on them, inconvenienced them, and now they are taking on the mess that you stopped fixing. Others in his family will avoid the truth because of the pain it brings to themselves, but you, my empowered listener, will own your truth in spite of pain. Without pain, there is no growth, and you are determined to grow. You are determined to break the chains of emotional immaturity. You are determined to practice healthy. And now that you understand different, you are practicing different. Not being seen, heard, or validated in your trauma by those that you thought loved you is painful. But not believing yourself, trusting yourself, and validating your lived experiences with betrayal, trauma, and abuse is excruciating. When I started to own my lived experience, it has led to my own sense of safety. Safety in my body, safety with healthy boundaries, which leads to trust in myself, believing that I've got my own back when no one else does, which makes space for my authenticity and vulnerability. That is a requirement for me to cultivate intimacy within, connection back towards me. This practice holds an incredibly more amount of weight than the weight of what others think and feel about you. So 3 thoughts that I want to offer you to practice. Number 1, what others believe about my experience doesn't make it true. Number 2, others have a right to be wrong about me. This goes back to the principle of agency. And number 3, if I'm alone in my truth, then I won't abandon myself. They can think what they want, say what they think. It cannot have an impact on you unless you allow it. They have a right to think what they do about you because that's in their control bubble. Their thoughts and feelings about you only impacts them. The greatest gift that you can give yourself is the gift of truth, your safety, your trust, your vulnerability, and your intimacy. Cultivate that for you within you, and none of this outside noise will hold you back from being the chooser in your life. And you get to create the life that you want because you can. Take care, everybody. Healing from betrayal, abuse, and divorce is like putting the pieces of yourself back together after trauma has torn you apart. It can be overwhelming to even know where to begin to that path of self-restoration. You might question your ability to recognize a healthy relationship, let alone rebuild one or enter a new one. But here's the thing. There are 7 different levels of intimacy, and I'm here to guide you through each one with the self-paced course, Intimacy Within. I have carefully crafted this course to lead you through every level of intimacy, offering practical tools that you can start using today. You'll discover how to start taking up space, trust your instincts, honor your emotions, problem solve effectively, and connect with your higher self, and gain a deeper understanding of you more than ever before. I am so thrilled for you to embark on this transformative journey towards your genuine intimacy, which lays that groundwork to ensure that you won't repeat past mistakes or overlook warning signs in the future. Your healing journey back towards you starts now. Head over to the show notes for the link for Intimacy Within. See you soon.